2 years. That's how long it had been since my family last came together, not for a holiday, not even for a birthday. 2 long years of Zoom calls, missed milestones and postponed plans. Between the relentless pace of life, job transfers, cross-country relocations, and the shadow of a global pandemic hanging over everything, organizing a family reunion had always seemed just out of reach. But not this year. This year we made it happen. We circled a weekend in early summer, carved it out with bold lines in our calendars, and swore on group chats and late-night calls that nothing, absolutely nothing, would get in our way. I offered up my home, a mid-sized suburban place with a spacious backyard that begged for laughter and folding chairs. We rented a massive white tent, hired a local catering company, set up a bounce house for the kids, and even laid out coolers full of sodas and water bottles nestled in ice. Everyone had a job. Everyone had a role. My Auntie Rosa baked her famous rum cake. My cousin Sam organized a playlist. Even my dad, who usually kept to himself, brought out the old camcorder he hadn't touched since 2009. You could feel the electricity in the air that morning. This wasn't just a gathering, it was a revival. Family together again under one sky. Finally. But across the street, on her porch shaded by potted geraniums and judgment, stood a presence as cold and unwanted as rain on a barbecue, Karen. Now, of course, Karen isn't her real name. But she had earned the title and then some. Karen had lived across from me for 5 years and made it her full-time hobby to police the entire block. She was infamous for her notes, yes, handwritten notes, taped to garbage cans and slipped under doormats. Notes that lectured about community standards and visual noise. Notes that scolded kids for riding scooters too fast or for playing chalk games on the sidewalk. You know the type. I knew she wasn't going to like our little celebration. But I hoped, naively it turns out, that maybe, just maybe, she'd let it go. Let people be happy for a few hours. Let the sound of children laughing and uncles arguing over spades wash over her like the tide and fade. No such luck. It began the moment the first folding chair touched the grass. Karen came outside like a sentry on duty, arms crossed, lips pursed into a perfect line of disapproval. She stood there for hours, her eyes darting from the speaker setup to the grill to the growing number of parked cars lining the curb. Her surveillance wasn't casual or discreet, it was personal. You could feel her gaze prickling the back of your neck like static. Still, we did our best to ignore her. We turned up the music, not too loud mind you, just enough to dance, and carried on with our joy. About an hour into the reunion, I was helping my cousin Melanie arrange the buffet table when a patrol car eased onto the street and parked right in front of my driveway. The laughter stopped. A hush fell over the yard like a curtain. Kids froze mid-jump in the bounce house. My little niece clutched her juice box a little tighter. My aunt, holding a bowl of potato salad, turned to stone. 2 officers stepped out of the car. Their uniforms crisp. One had a clipboard. "Afternoon, folks," the taller one said, scanning the crowd. "We got a noise complaint from a neighbor. Something about an unauthorized large gathering." The word unauthorized stung like a slap. I opened my mouth to respond, to explain that we had done everything by the book. Permits filed, no alcohol without a license, music well within decibel limits, when I heard a voice that nearly made me laugh with relief. "Hey McNeil. Thought you were off today." Heads turned toward the grill, where my Uncle Joe was flipping burgers, clad in a dark blue apron that said, "Protect and Serve, now serving burgers." And next to him, setting down a soda and walking toward the officers, was none other than Chief Alan Reyes, the chief of our city's police department. Not just some random badge, the chief. And also, my godfather. "Afternoon, gentlemen," Chief Reyes said with a smile that could melt stone. "Everything's in order here. Permits approved. Volume within city allowance. Food catered. No open flames. No alcohol without a license. Want a burger?" The younger officer blinked. "Oh, Chief, you're attending this?" Reyes chuckled, clapping a hand on the officer's shoulder. "You could say that. I helped them set up the tent myself this morning. I can personally assure you there's no safety concern here." You could practically see the tension evaporate from the backyard like steam off a grill. Parents relaxed. The music crept back up. A few kids began cautiously jumping again. But of course Karen wasn't finished. She emerged from her porch like a villain entering stage left, clutching a folder thick with papers, printouts of HOA bylaws highlighted and tabbed. "This is still a disruption," she snapped, storming up to the edge of my lawn. "My dog is terrified by the noise, and this many cars is a violation of Section 3B of the Neighborhood Ordinance." Chief Reyes didn't raise his voice. He didn't even look irritated. He simply held up a calm hand. Ma'am, I understand your concerns. But this isn't an HOA enforcement issue, it's a city matter. And as far as the city is concerned, this gathering is fully compliant. Karen's mouth opened as if she had another retort lined up, but nothing came out. Just the sound of an engine idling and the faint bounce of music drifting from the backyard. She stood there, blinking, then turned on her heel and marched back across the street like she was late for a meeting with her superiority complex. We didn't see her again for the rest of the weekend. Later that evening, as the sun dipped behind the rooftops and cast the sky in watercolor hues of orange and lavender, Chief Reyes raised his soda in a toast. "To the most peaceful large gathering I've ever attended," he said, grinning wide as he looked around at the crowd. "Good food, great people, no arrests. What more can you ask for?" We all laughed. Someone shouted, "Say cheese," and we gathered for a massive group photo, police cruiser and all. Kids on shoulders, uncles in Hawaiian shirts, a banner reading "Family First" flapping gently in the breeze. Everyone smiling. Everyone whole. The reunion went on for 2 more beautiful, joy-soaked days. There was dancing under string lights. Midnight storytelling on the porch. The kids made up a game that involved chasing each other with glow sticks. One night, we played old family videos and cried from both laughter and nostalgia. The smell of barbecue lingered in the air like a memory refusing to fade. And from across the street? Not a single peep. Funny, isn't it? How quickly the complaints vanish when the chief of police is flipping your burgers. In the end, it wasn't just a family reunion, it was a reminder of what matters. That shared laughter, warm embraces, and clinking glasses beneath the stars will always mean more than printed bylaws and petty grievances. That even in a world where some people try to regulate joy, there are still moments too full of love to be contained. And as for Karen? Well, maybe next time we'll send her a plate. Or maybe not. Either way, the reunion lives on, in our stories, in our photos, and in the sizzling echo of a summer weekend that no one, not even a Karen, could ruin.